And we are live. Welcome back or welcome to the Truth Comes to Light podcast, where everything done in the dark is going to come to light. Every single detail in this world that is done in the dark is going to come to light. I'm your host, Jay Colvin, and welcome back to the show. For those of y'all that are new to the channel, Truth Comes to Light podcast, we talk about news from all over the world, the music industry, and more. Be sure to check out my previous podcast episodes here on the channel. Also, be sure to check out my Real Spill Wednesdays. On Real Spill Wednesdays, we talk about life topics and motivational quotes. Please, if you're interested in that, be sure to check out my previous Real Spills on the channel. My last one was about suicide, saying no to suicide because the month of September is Suicide Prevention Month. So I kind of wanted to go into detail on that just to give y'all a little, sneak peek on what I do talk about on the Real Spill Wednesday. So please, if you're interested, be sure to check out my previous Real Spill Wednesdays on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We done made over 70 videos here on the channel. We are almost at 100 videos. 60 subscribers, made it to 60 subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all that have came to the channel, whether you viewed it, liked it, subscribe to the channel, just showing me support, because without y'all, I would not be, having some sort of motivation to, provide y'all with content. So for y'all liking, coming to my channel each and every time, I'm going to return it with some content, some new content, hopefully being consistent each and every chance that I get to talk to y'all. Also, be sure to follow my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the Truth Comes to Light podcast. I will be leaving those links down in the description because you want to follow those channels, because who might knows, something that I do post on my Instagram or my Twitter or even my TikTok, that might be a foreshadow on what I might talk about on the next podcast episode. But you wouldn't know that if you don't subscribe to or follow the pages. So be sure to follow them. I'm going to leave those links down in the description. And with that in mind, let's get straight into it. Now, the news that has been going around and has been hot over the past week is the Blueface and Krishan Rock incident, which I will get to after this first topic that I want to talk about. Because me being in Houston right now, the Houston Rockets, with the Houston Rockets players getting trades, getting draft picks, and it's kind of sad for this player and what I am about to tell y'all. So, Houston Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested with assault and strangulation Monday, September 11th, to his girlfriend and former WNBA player in a New York City hotel room. Prosecutors revealed that during the attack, she suffered a neck vertebra and a deep cut above her right eye. It is also alleged that he did not stop attacking her until she escaped and ran into the hotel lobby covered in blood. And officers were informed that an individual had struck her multiple times around her eye and choked her so hard that he basically fractured her vertebrae. This is not the first time that Kevin Porter Jr. has been reported to abuse his girlfriend. Which one incident, he ended up basically crashing his car into her car, and just other instances involved. And Kevin Porter Jr., the type of person that he is and his character, he has been getting in trouble ever since high school. He was involved in a one-car crash, and the police saw that he had drugs on him and he was going at a high rate of speed, so they ended up charging him with involved in the crash, possession of marijuana, failure to control. But those crimes ended up getting dismissed. Those charges ended up getting dismissed. He's also have been suspended multiple times on each and every team that he has been on, starting from USC with conduct issues. Then he went to Cleveland. He got drafted by Cleveland back in 2019, 30th overall pick, and he had conduct issues there. He had conduct issues when he got traded to the Houston Rockets. So now, with this whole incident with him and his girlfriend, it's like that's like the cherry on top in regards to his conduct and how people are going to paint how he is. The star guard was a starting point guard. He was the starting point guard for the Houston Rockets, and he had career high numbers in points per game and rebounds. He was averaging around over 19.2 points a game, over 5 rebounds a game for the Houston Rockets. Even though the Houston Rockets had a bad record, he was still putting up some good numbers, and he was supposed to be starting this upcoming season, even with the new additions of Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, and then they drafted Amen Thompson with the 4th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. So based off what I just told y'all, you would think, oh, his conduct is bad, and the fact that he choked his girlfriend so hard that he literally fractured her vertebra. When I first heard the new news about this, I was just like, how do you just choke someone that hard to basically fracture their vertebra? Like, that's literally like you have to hold them very, very, very tight. Like, she could have almost died from that. There's something new news that it came out as I'm recording this video, which I am fixing to tell y'all right now. And the main thing that I want y'all to get from this, I'm not saying that what Kevin Porter Jr. did, if he gets charged with this and he gets convicted, that what he did, he's totally innocent. He's 100% responsible of the crime. But I want y'all to keep in mind, with domestic violence crimes, you have to hear both sides of the story, because there has been plenty of times in which a female will literally lie on the dude, whether he's a big name or just whatever, things not going their way and they get into an argument. A female can just do something. They can rip their clothes off, have cuts on them, just do whatever. But how society paints it, they're going to go after the male, because with domestic violence, one or two people have to go to jail. It's either going to be the male or it's going to be the female. 9 times out of 10, who is it going to be? The male. But I'm not defending him. I want that to get out the way. I want the air to be cleared. I'm not defending Kevin Porter Jr. in no way, shape, or form. I just want to tell y'all, with domestic violence, you have to look at both sides of the story. You can't just hear one side of the story and not get the other side of the story, because if you don't, you're just going to get all the information misbottled up, misconstrued, and take everything out of proportion. So you got to hear both sides of the story. So if you're in domestic violence, and me talking to y'all or just anyone that you know, that's like the only time that you do have to talk to the police. Because if you don't talk to the police, they're going to take the other person's side of the story. You just can't heavily rely on the evidence. Even though the evidence is going to be there, you want to have your testimony. You want to have your side of the story for domestic violence cases. So with that in mind, let me tell y'all the new news that I literally just found out before I recorded this video. Not even like 5 minutes before I recorded this video. So it says right here, it says that she told lawyers that she says that she didn't strike her repeatedly. If he hit her, she didn't have a broken jaw. And she exaggerated about the whole thing. She exaggerated about her having a fractured vertebra. She actually has a genetic defect in which it's basically soft tissue where her vertebra is. So when I guess she went to the hospital and doctors didn't know about that, they had, I guess, did an x-ray, and obviously it will show up as if she had a fractured vertebra, but she didn't end up having a fractured vertebra. Then also, she was telling us, basically the people, that she didn't want the whole story to get blown out of proportion. Not saying that Kevin Porter Jr. didn't strangle her, but the story that she had said on how he choked her so hard and it was actually strangulation, she basically said that that wasn't even the case. So how can you say from Jump Street that you were strangled very, very bad, and now the fractured vertebra had ended up happening, and you're just rolling with the story? Now, come to find out today, as I'm recording this video, that you don't have a fractured vertebra, and he didn't strangle you. You didn't want people to take the story out of proportion. Like, something isn't adding up, which is going back to my point. You have to hear both sides of the story. The only thing now that they can basically use is if, when she came out the hotel lobby room and she escaped, that she was covered in blood or something was going on. She had any marks. She had a bruise on her right eye, because she confirmed that she had a bruise on her right eye. She just said that the strangulation wasn't really a strangulation and how that was blown out of proportion. That was an exaggeration. That was according to her. And she also said that the fractured vertebra, there is no fractured vertebra. She has a defect to the point to where it's soft tissue right there, so it's going to come up as if she has a fractured vertebra, but she doesn't. But when the whole story came out, you said that he choked you so hard you was finna die and this whole strangulation happened, but now come to find out today that it didn't end up happening. You just basically made a whole story up. And I'm pretty sure he knows about this, and he knows, like, bro, like, I'm not saying that it could have been a setup. If he actually did it, he actually did it. But now people are going to look at his conduct along with this situation, along with the simple fact that this is not the first time that they have got into an argument or a situation to which police were called. And it's like the odds are already stacked against him from his past conduct that have happened to him ever since he was in USC. So with that in mind, females will take advantage of that. Like I said, I'm not defending him in no type of way, but females, if they see something in regards to what can be your downfall and you're up, bro, some females will really get down like that, and they will tell you and they'll do whatever in order to bring you down, whether it's something like this domestic violence, because one person has to go to jail in a domestic violence dispute. There's never no times in which both of them don't even go to jail. One person has to go to jail. And females, they get in their feelings, their emotions, they're emotion-based, they're emotional creatures, so they're going to let their emotions get to them. So sometimes they don't think rationally like us dudes. They think based off of emotion. So with that in mind, if you get into a real bad argument with them, some will literally set you up and say that you did this, and the third, and you didn't end up doing that, and that's not the truth. But since it's domestic violence, someone has to go to jail. They could cut themselves. They can do whatever to make it seem like it's domestic violence. But in reality, it's not. She did all of that. But how society paints it, the dude is going to go to jail 9 times out of 10, because they're going to be like, how can a female have domestic violence towards a dude? That's how society thinks. It's like, you're a dude, you're strong, you're not supposed to have a female be verbal abuse to you, physically abusing you, none of that, because you're the stronger man. So with that in mind, they're going to take the dude to jail 9 times out of 10. I'm not saying, and I'm going to keep on stating this, not saying that I'm defending Kevin Porter Jr. If he did this, if this is actually what happened, he's 100% wrong and he should be held liable. He has since posted bail. He has been waived by the Rockets. They're trying to get a trade so that way they don't have to pay him $3 million. So that was a part of his little contract clause. If he does get waived, the Rockets will have to pay him $3 million. So they're trying to trade him. But let's just say hypothetical. You got to look at it from both perspectives. What if this didn't happen? What if this didn't happen? What if this whole thing was a lie and now he's off the team and he just lost money? He was just a starter. Now he just lost his starting job because of his conduct in the past, plus this, and this didn't even happen. Some females will do that. So you got to look at it from both ways. It's interesting. You got to hear Kevin Porter Jr.'s side of the story. Hopefully he does speak out and say what actually happened. But like I said earlier, she didn't deny the fact that she has a cut on her right eye. So there was some sort of abuse. So really they're relying on that, and they're relying on the simple fact that she came out the hotel room and ran into the lobby covered in blood. So they're really going based off of that. This is an active investigation. Obviously, like I said, as I'm recording this video, September 15th, 2023, this is when the new news came out. This story has been going on since September 11th, 9/11. So more news is still going to come out about this case. This is still fresh. This is still the beginning. It's not the end. This is still active. So more news could potentially come about this case. So I'm not defending no one. I'm not on no one side. Anytime that it's a domestic violence case, you have to look at it from both sides. You can't just go based off of the first story. You have to hear the second story, come together, and then make your thoughts up from there. Because based off how the story was presented to us and what, his girlfriend had said, we was thinking, oh, this dude was just this abuser. If this is actually true, he should not be playing in the NBA, which if this is true, he should not be playing in the NBA. But now, since this new news then just came out, now you're questioning, is this some sort of setup? Is this some lying in there? Did she try to exaggerate it to make it seem as though it is something that it's really not? Because how are you going to tell us that you didn't want us to take it to the wrong perspective and you didn't want us to blow it out of proportion? But that's what you're telling us. You told police that happened. You told officers, law enforcement that happened. So obviously we're going to roll with it as of right now. But don't be mad or don't try and change your story once we find out what the real truth is. I'm not saying what you said isn't the truth, but what we do know now is that you blew some of the information out of proportion. So now we're questioning, what more have you blown out of proportion? Not saying that Kevin Porter Jr. didn't do it. If he did it, he should be held liable. He should not come back to the NBA because he didn't had so many conduct issues with each and every one of his teams. The only team that I feel as though he should not have got anything like conduct wise, and I see why he got a conduct issue, but I still feel as though it should not have even like happened or whatever, was the Houston Rockets. Because for those of y'all that do not know, the Houston Rockets are trash, and the old coach that they had before they signed the new head coach Udoka, he was trash. They just lost like the first 20 games of the season. At one point they were like 0-20. So obviously when you're 0-20, character is going to break in the locker room. We're going to get mad. We're going to be like, bro, our team is sucking. The coach isn't coaching us correctly, because there should be no way, shape, or form, if you're a good coach, that we're losing 20 games straight, back to back to back, and we haven't won a game yet. That goes straight on coaching. So obviously we're going to let our emotions, us dudes, we're going to let our emotions get to that, because it's basketball. It's something that we love to do. Something that we love to do. So if we keep on losing, if you have that competitive spirit, obviously you're going to be mad because you want to win. Who doesn't want to win? So him coming at the coach, it was just like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, why are we losing all of these games? Like, you need to get your stuff together, because if you don't, like, I'm not going to play. The team is just going to break character. Like, he was just getting mad at all of that. So you can't blame him for that conduct. But the thing is that happened before with the USC incident, the Cavaliers incident, all of that. Yeah, like, that goes strictly on him. That's strictly his conduct. But going back to the case, they're going to use that as a way to build character to the jury, because it's going to go to trial. He's not finna plead guilty to this. I can guarantee you he's not finna plead guilty. He's going to plead not guilty, and this is going to go to trial. This domestic violence is all going to go to trial. So more news is going to come up about this case. But I don't like how they're going to use old news, because you already know they're going to use old news that had happened back in his past from college and how his conduct is, as a way to build character and build the type of person that he could potentially be. So he might not care, or they might say something negative about him, negative light shined upon him. So now when this incident comes up, it's like, oh, we're not surprised that he did it because of the character that he is. But like I said, I'm not defending Kevin Porter Jr. in no way, shape, or form. It's just with each and every domestic violence case is different. Each one can be different. There's some that are way, easier to solve than others because the evidence is literally right there. If I clearly see someone got punched, like right then and there, like that's something that you have to see. If you clearly see that someone got punched and they got all of these injuries, well, yeah, that's domestic violence. That's what I'm gonna see. I clearly saw it. So what is there more to speak of? There's evidence everywhere. And you hear the other person's side of the story, and it doesn't even match up to the evidence that you get. Yeah, you're going to solve that case easily. But there are some cases out here to where one individual might lie to try to put the other one in jail, and that's not even the case. And they don't even get no jail time or none of that. Like, they don't get in trouble for lying to the police or none of that. The female isn't, at least. They're not going to have none of that. So he just goes through the whole trial phase and all of that just for him to be found not guilty. He could lose his job. He could lose money, just lose everything, all because of someone's emotions. Someone's emotion, and they get mad because something don't go their way, and they'll try and do something to be petty or try to get their lick back. Because that's what some females do. But the fact that she blew everything, trying to say that we blew everything out of proportion and saying that it was an exaggeration on how hard he was strangling and it wasn't even a strangulation or none of that. Now it's questioning, like, what is the real story? Because I'm pretty sure when we first heard the story, everyone, me, you, your parents, everyone was probably like, oh, this person is just a bad person. Why did he do that? He should be cut from the team. He's going to lose all of this money, just all of that. But now since this new news has came up, does it kind of like bring your mind back to like, hey, you got to hear both sides of the story, because what if this is not true? You got the whole thing with Miles Bridges, another NBA athlete that had a whole situation and he had went to jail, and he was supposed to go to jail for sure. His situation with domestic violence, he was supposed to go to jail. Not saying that Kevin Porter Jr., if this is all true, he should go to jail and he should stay in jail. With Henry Ruggs, with the drunk driving and he killed someone, vehicular manslaughter, he should be in jail. It's so crazy with these NBA players. Like, if these cases and these allegations are actually true, how some NBA players, some NFL players, or just athletes, period, will literally throw their careers away just by one moment. Just by one moment. We were just talking about transparent, looking at it from the lying perspective, but now you got to look at it on if the allegations are really true. It's crazy how these athletes will literally have this one viral moment and something will go bad for them, and they literally go to jail and they lose their whole career. They were star players. Miles Bridges, if he didn't luckily get put back on the team, he could have potentially lost his job. Henry Ruggs, we already know with Henry Ruggs, he done got sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison for vehicular manslaughter for the Oakland Raiders. He threw his career away. He's not going to be back on the football field. And now with this whole Kevin Porter Jr. situation, now it's like, I don't even think if this is true, he can't come back. He can't come back to the NBA. And it's so sad because his conduct was bad and he was actually a good player. This is not just like no regular person that is only averaging like 10 points a game, not really getting no playing time. No, I want y'all to keep this in mind. He was the starting point guard for the Houston Rockets. The starting point guard. Yes, they finished last place in the West. They did. But he was the starting point guard on that team. Let's not forget that. He was averaging over 19 points. He had a career high in points. Let's not forget that. He was the second best player on the team. Statistically, he was the second best player on the team, the second best guard on the team. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget how good Kevin Porter Jr. was. Let's not forget how good he was in high school and how he had one of the best high school mixtapes ever. Let's not forget what he has done in basketball. But if this is actually true, you done now just threw all of that away. You done threw away millions of dollars. Your reputation is going to get messed up. Now you can't come back to the league. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do outside of playing basketball. Yes, it's bigger than basketball, but this is something that you possibly love doing. You've been playing this ever since you was young and you were making millions of dollars. Now you're not going to be making millions of dollars. Not going to be making millions of dollars at all. All because of your conduct. Your conduct can be your downfall. Your attitude probably could be your downfall. So if this is actually true, this is a perfect example of how your attitude and your emotions can be the downfall of you. Like, you got to manage that. You got to control when to get mad, when to not do certain things, because now you're famous, you're big. You can't do the same things that you were doing back when you wasn't famous, because people watch you. You have a digital footprint. People will watch everything that you post, everything that you basically do on the internet. If they see you outside, they will record you. You gotta act a certain way when you are famous. And it's kind of messed up too, but at the same time, it's for your safety. It's for your safety and for the NBA, basically, for your profession. Because you see with Ja Morant, you see how he's showing guns multiple times. He got caught the first time. Adam Silver had something to say. Now he had got caught a second time. Then he tried to say that the weapon was a toy. It's all about the conduct. And they don't want the NBA to look bad because one person is showing a gun, even though it's legal. Even though the gun is legal, it's 100% his. That's not what people want the NBA. That's not what they want them to think of. So it's the conduct. So he could potentially get kicked out of the league for, even though it's his weapon, they don't want no one to think that the NBA is okay with that. Same with Kevin Porter Jr. Domestic violence, they don't want the NBA to feel as though they have abusers in the league. Same with Miles Bridges. Like I said, Miles Bridges just ended up getting lucky and getting back on the team. You're in a total worse situation because of the news that had came out. And if it really isn't for now, the news that it just came out today about this could be a potential exaggeration, how she exaggerated the story a little bit. If the original story was true, you could potentially not even be in the league just like that, because you already got cut from a team. You already got cut by your Houston Rockets. So now you just got to wait until more news come out, then the trial comes, and then if you get found not guilty, that's a big if. If you get found not guilty, hope that another team will pick you up. Because even if they do pick you up, they have to keep in the back of their head, oh, he was a part of this abuse situation. Oh, he was a part of this thing that happened at USC and he was in a crash and he had possession of marijuana. Oh, he had conduct issues with the Rockets and the Cavaliers and every single team that he's been with. That's basically your resume. No one doesn't want someone that on their resume, they're not even at the other job for less than 30 days, just weeks and weeks and weeks. They're not even there for a full month, let alone a full year. Don't no one want that for their company. They're going to look at that and be like, oh, this person will abandon our job just like that. It's the same way here. With you having all these conduct issues, you getting arrested, it's not a bad look on your resume for these other teams. And now since you done got waived by this team and they're really trying to trade you, even if they do try and trade you, it's going to be hard for another team to try and pick you up because of the simple fact that they have basically all this baggage with them now. It's like you're basically a flight risk. So if this case is true, then obviously you're not going to get another chance in the league. But if it's not, even still, it still affects you. It still affects the money that you can make. Because now people think that you're a flight risk. Now people know that you have conduct issues. No one wants that. Whether that's in the NBA, NFL, MLB, or just a regular business corporation. Stores, all of that. They don't want no one in which they have a whole lot of baggage with them. Baggage meaning past incidences. Don't no one want that. So it's real deal just crazy how your emotions can be your downfall. Obviously, like I said earlier, this is an active investigation. So we'll see what more comes out about this case. And I will keep y'all updated on Twitter and Instagram. I would best believe be sure to keep y'all updated on this case in particular, because this person is in Houston. This is more personal to me. And this is more personal because it's domestic violence. I haven't went through no domestic violence. I'm not saying that. But this is domestic violence. You gotta hear from both parties. You can't just hear from one party and believe that that's the full story. You gotta hear from the other side. Take what you get from both of them, then come up with your story, your own personal story. Because that's not fair to do. That's not fair to just hear one story and just run with it. You didn't even give the other person a chance, whether it's right or wrong. You'll figure that out once you do talk to him. But since he's big, they basically already took the ex-girlfriend's story and they basically put it out everywhere. But if that story is true, then he for sure needs to go to jail. He should not play another basketball game ever again. But now since we know that some of the pieces of her story was exaggerated and she didn't want us to blow the whole story out of proportion, that's what you told us. So now we got to really go in detail, go deeper in the story and figure out what is the real story in this Kevin Porter Jr. case. We know even with her exaggerating the story a little bit, that doesn't necessarily mean that Kevin Porter Jr. is just clean off the hook and he didn't strangle her. But some of the things are exaggerated. So now it's like we got to look deeper. Got to look deeper in the story, see where the holes are so we can fill the holes. That's what law enforcement will think from their perspective. Fill the holes in the story. What's exaggerated, what's not, what's true, what's not. But one thing she didn't deny is that she was abused. So obviously we heard her story. Now we got to hear Kevin Porter Jr.'s. If the story is true, Kevin Porter Jr. should not play another game in the NBA. And he's not going to. Adam Silver is not going to allow him to do that for the sake of the NBA. And I 100% agree with that decision if he decides to do that. If he decides to do that. But that's something to keep in mind. With domestic violence, got to hear both sides of the story. But like I said, if it's true, he should not play another NBA game ever. Let's move on to the story that I said I was going to talk to after the Kevin Porter Jr. case, which has been a big topic for the past week. The Krishan Rock incident. Krishan Rock gave birth to her baby boy. Krishan Malone named it after her. Blueface was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Krishan Rock gave birth to her newborn baby on IG Live, and Blueface came out with a video the next day or that same day of him with his other baby mama, Jaden Alexis. Krishan Rock went on IG Live trying to squash the beef with Blueface, talking about the sake of the baby, we should not be having none of this beef. Now, mind you, Krishan Rock had said earlier, a month before her getting into labor and ended up having a baby, that she didn't want Blueface to come to the hospital for the sake of the kid. She wanted to be at her own peace of mind. So she had went to Baltimore and she had ended up having a baby there. And Blueface didn't end up showing up, so Krishan Rock was mad at that. She stated, I'm talking about our kid, you're talking about eating at someone's restaurant. Moments later, Krishan Rock was talking about Blueface's parenting skills with Jaden Alexis. And Jaden Alexis had went on Twitter and posted a video of Blueface holding her newborn babies to basically paint a picture on Blueface and saying that he's a good parent and he will be there for his kids or whatever. But in this instance, Krishan Rock, Blueface was nowhere to be found. So, with a couple of things that I really do want to explain. I really want y'all to see this tweet that Blueface has said, and it's so crazy how this generation is. First off, I want to get this out the way. I feel as though Krishan Rock and Blueface were not ready to have a kid. Blueface even said before she even went into labor and she found out that she was pregnant, Blueface did not want to have the kid with Krishan Rock. Do I believe that? Yes, I absolutely believe that he didn't want to have a kid with Krishan Rock, but I just feel like it had ended up happening. So I really want y'all to see this quote that Blueface had said on September 3rd. He said, "Never date a woman who doesn't respect your wife." That was literally crazy to me. Like, if this person, Jay and Alexis, is your wife, why are you going out with Krishan Rock and y'all having this whole toxic relationship from basically years back all the way until now? Now y'all have a baby and now you're nowhere to be found. Like, we know that Blueface, his music career was dying. Like, he was basically falling off with it. Krishan Rock, he was basically putting her on, and they had a show together, the Baddies series, and that has been gaining a whole lot of traction. So he wasn't making no money really from rapping for real because his music career was dying, but Krishan Rock has been making money. They both have really been making money from the Baddies series. But I feel as though he didn't want to have the baby with Krishan Rock. He wanted a whole paternity test. He threatened to call Child Protective Services on her, all of that. But they ended up having a baby. So if that was the whole case, why are you even not even using rubbers? You're not using no condoms. If this was strictly business, like you said, that you and Krishan Rock was basically strictly business, this was nothing really serious, which we all knew that it was a lie when he had said that. Why would you even go in her raw and have a kid with her? To be locked in for the money? Who knows? That could be one thing because you know that your career was really dying off. So now you see Krishan Rock is really blowing up. And we knew that at the beginning of it, when Blueface first came out, that Krishan Rock was going to be the downfall. Now, I don't want to put just her, but Krishan Rock and their toxic relationship, that was going to be the downfall of Blueface. Their toxic relationship, it gained traction on social media, but we know that it wasn't going to last long. We knew that that relationship between both of them wasn't going to last long, and Blueface is going to go on social media, Krishan Rock is going to go on social media, talk about the whole situation, hear both sides of their story, and it's just very, very toxic. But even with Blueface not going to the hospital, which I feel as though he should have went to the hospital, even with Krishan Rock not allowing him to go and not allowing Blueface family to go, I still feel as though he should have went. I would have personally went to the hospital, but he didn't end up going to the hospital. So now she was mad, even though she had said that he was not allowed to go to the hospital. If it's for the piece of the baby, okay, cool. But he should be able to not, if he's not in a labor room, at least be in the hospital so he can see the baby. Just see the baby. But he didn't do that, so that's 100% on Blueface for sure. And then Jaden Alexis is coming on Twitter and trying to paint an image on how Blueface is there for his kids. You got to remember, Blueface has been to jail all of these times. Like, he doesn't have time. Like, he's trying to have fun. He's living his best life, clearly. He's not really there for the kid. You're threatening Krishan Rock on having an abortion. You didn't want Krishan Rock to have the kid. You didn't want none of that. And that was just real deal crazy. Like, you didn't want her to have any other kids. You didn't want her to have none of that. And you're not providing for the kid. Like, I feel like that's crazy. Like, I feel as though, and it's so weird too, because I ain't gonna lie, with Krishan Rock, the only thing I feel as though she did wrong, which I can agree to Blueface on this being some sort of clout situation, is that Krishan Rock literally made an Instagram account for the baby with the business inquiries in the description 2 days after the birth of her son. Why would you do that? The baby hasn't been alive for a full week, and you make a whole Instagram page basically for business inquiries, all of that. Like, that's a clout thing. That is for sure a clout thing. Like, why would you even do that? The baby hadn't even been out for a week. That's the only thing I feel as though she did wrong. But Blueface not showing up to the hospital, even though he wasn't allowed to come to the hospital, she didn't want him to come to the hospital. Okay, I can see that. Him saying never date a woman who doesn't respect your wife. Why would you even say that? Why would you even do that? I would say put bro on child support, like straight up. He not taking care of the kids. He not doing anything. He's basically leaving Krishan Rock to basically go by herself. And the crazy thing about it, Krishan Rock is still going to go back to Blueface because even though she possibly has a stronger connection, she probably has people around that's telling her not to. The relationship has been so toxic for so many years. It's hard to break out of a toxic relationship. For some people, it's hard to just break out of that. Once they're in it, they feel like they can't get out of it. It's very hard to do that. So even with Blueface not showing up, even with Blueface threatening to call CPS, Child Protective Services, taking away the baby from Krishan Rock, who knows if Krishan Rock will actually leave Blueface? Who knows that? And you would think that it's so easy because of all the situations that have gone on between the couple, but there's been worse situations than this that has been going on. Worse situations in the past. They always get in countless arguments, threatening each other. Like, it's not going to be that easy for Krishan Rock to leave Blueface alone. It just isn't. Blueface put her on the map, so obviously it ain't gonna be just that easy for her to just leave. Not gonna be just easy for her to leave. And you have Jada and Alexis. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up what she had ended up saying. Well, now I'm gonna actually say what Blueface had said. Blueface was basically just saying how Jaden's sex game is basically better. Just basically talking down on Krishan Rock, saying basically he really ain't need her anyways. Which, I mean, is he right on that? Yeah, but I mean, did you really have to say all of that? Like, nah, basically calling Blueface weird. That's what Krishan Rock was saying, calling Blueface weird. And I mean, it's just so crazy, and it's so just messed up for the baby, because the baby is getting born into a toxic household. That is one of the worst things to get put into, a toxic household. You're literally born into it. With Krishan Rock gonna have to tell the baby about the situations, or he gonna find out himself about the toxic relationship between the dad and Krishan Rock. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like as a man, as a father, you want to be there for your kid. You want to be there for your kid. You actually want to, show him love, support the kid, do everything that you possibly can for the kid's sake. That's why I feel like they need to get it together. But I feel as though Blueface is not finna be around Krishan Rock and that baby. Not that baby. He'll be around Jada and Alexis and her 2 kids, but not Krishan Rock and her son. So I feel as though, it's so crazy. I feel like bro should get put on that child support. You don't wish that on nobody. But that'll get bro to at least tighten up, because as of right now, bro is just living reckless. Bro is just living wild right now. He's living his best life. He doesn't care about Krishan Rock. Now he's saying he never did. It was straight business. He done made freestyles on, Zia's page and other pages, basically saying that, it was straight business. It ain't nothing, no love towards Krishan Rock. It's just strictly business, which I find that hard to believe. But the simple fact is now, you clearly see with this newborn coming out, Krishan Rock, that Blueface doesn't care about Krishan now. Like I said, he was right about Krishan Rock making it a clout thing and making a Instagram page 2 days after the baby was born. The baby hasn't even been out a week, and you already making an Instagram page. Like, that's very suspicious. That's clout. And that page, when I had saw, was over like 700K subscribers on there. So it's like, you're already making business inquiries for that page. Like, why would you even do that? The baby hasn't even been out. The baby doesn't even know what that is. You're trying to get more money off of that, more clout because of that. That's the only thing I could say that she did wrong. But for the kids' sake, y'all got to tighten up together. Like, we can both agree, we could all agree that Krishan and Blueface, they're not ready to have kids together, at least. Especially Blueface. Blueface isn't ready to have a kid, period. But he ended up having 2 kids. It's like, He had 2 kids with Jay and Alexis, and now one with Krishan Rock. Krishan Rock is just new to this, so obviously she finna have all her emotions, depression, postpartum, all of that. I don't think with their relationship being so toxic, I don't feel as though they needed to have a baby. Did not need to have a baby because now you're putting the baby through all of this. He's gonna know about all of this. This is not on every single thing that happens now. From now on, it's not only going to affect Krishan Rock and Blueface, it's gonna affect that baby because the baby is gonna hear about it. The baby is gonna have to go through it, and it's sad for the baby because the baby is just literally born into a toxic relationship, potentially not having a dad in Blueface, potentially only having a single mom in Krishan Rock. That affects kids. That affects kids all the time, only having a single parent, raising a single household. First, if they have that father figure or if they have that mother figure, you gotta have it both together. Because if you don't, it's gonna make that kid like just question, like they want to know who their biological parent is. They want to have a relationship, but if the other one doesn't want to have a relationship, it really affects a kid. Like I said, the only thing I feel as though she did wrong was make that Instagram account. Yeah, she didn't invite Blueface to the hospital. I feel as though Blueface still should have went. But Blueface threatening Krishan Rock with the child protective services, basically didn't want to have a kid, found out that the kid was his, not showing up, like that's showing that he does not care about you, Krishan Rock. Doesn't care about you. So with that in mind, it's like now you gotta be the one to finally open up your eyes in a toxic relationship and know like bro cannot come back. I would say put bro on child support, like I said, because that's gonna make him come back. He gonna have to pay for the kid because right now he's just living like he don't give up about the kid. He don't care about the kid at all. Clearly, you can see that. Yeah, you said it in an IG live that you're not gonna put him on child support, but I would recommend it. And I don't wish that on nobody. I don't wish that on no man. But that's what needs to be done in order for bro to just tighten up. Just a little bit. Because he's gonna have to pay. You feel what I'm saying? Or he's gonna go to jail. But now since you're not putting him on that, obviously he can just live wild, just live free, like. But you gotta have that relationship with your kid, male and female. Has to come together. With Krishan Rock, she just got sentenced to 4 years probation for a drug charge, and you had Blueface that got sentenced to probation for, I think it was attempted murder. So clearly they're not in the right minds to even have a kid in the first place because they're still getting in and out of jail or getting these charges by the police. Luckily, they only got probation. And Krishan Rock also got 120 hours of community service. That's luck that you even got that. You shouldn't even have to go through that in the first place. So y'all both gotta tighten up, or someone has to tighten up. Someone has to open their eyes for the sake of the kid. Now that you have a kid, now you can't do certain things. You gotta be more mature because you have a kid. Because you have a kid. The same things that you can do when you did have a kid, now you can't do it because you have a kid. Having kids come with a whole lot of responsibility. So I said this in my real spill. Are they the one? Be sure to check it out. If this is the person that you want to have a kid with, make sure that this is the right person that you will want to spend the rest of your life with, or a whole lot of time with forever. Because of the simple fact there's been so many times out here in which kids are just birthed into one-parent households. Whether that's the father leaving or the mother leaving. It's rare, but it still happens. So if this is the person that you want to mess with and you want to have a kid with, Forget the money, forget the clout, forget all of that. Make sure that this is the right person that you will want to mess with forever. Because if it's not and y'all end up having a kid, someone could potentially leave, and now you're just raised in a one-parent household, and now you're a single mother or a only father raising one kid, and that's hard on anybody, whether you're big or not. Yeah, when you're big, you have money, but that has nothing to do with your kid in regards to wanting to have that biological parent, that second biological parent, just around to talk to them. Have that care, have that love, because eventually when they get older, they're going to ask about that. Who is my biological dad? Where's my dad? Where's my mom? And they're going to have to hear the harsh reality of the situation. So the fact that the kid is just getting born into this toxic household, it's not going to look good for him in the future if they don't even tighten up. And based off how it's looking, Blueface finna go with Jaden Alexis and is not going to care about you, Krishan Rock. That's based on the looks of it. That's based off what he's posting on Twitter. Don't let a woman disrespect your wife. Don't talk to a woman that don't respect your wife, to be exact. That is exactly what he said. Saying that Jaden's sex is better than hers, just basically just talking down on you. So now you got to open your eyes and see all of that and see the things that he's saying and all the negative things, and you got to make a play. You got to not deal with that. And I'm pretty sure the people that you have around from the Baddies cast crew and just people now that you have around because of the fame that you have grew, you now have people that you possibly didn't have years back that'll tell you, bro, you got to leave him. So now what you got to do, you got to make that decision no matter how toxic it is. You want to get out of that toxic relationship for the sake of your kid. For the sake of your kid. That is going to be your answer every single time. Now you have to think for your kid. What is going to be best for your son, Krishan Malone? You got to make that decision. And it's going to be hard because he didn't put you on. He did all this. Y'all relationship been so toxic. If it wasn't that hard, you would have been left. But why did you stay? Was it for the clout? Was it because he's putting you on? What was it? But now, since you see that he's not going to be there for your kid and he's threatening to call Child Protective Services, even though Child Protective Services got called on him because he had strippers at his house, like he's just living wild. He's living wild right now. You should not want to have that if you have a kid. So you got to make that decision. Are you going to leave him? Or are you going to continue to let this toxic relationship go for the clout, for the fame, or is it because you truly love him? In my eyes, it's all three. Let me know what y'all think. Let's move on to another topic. We're going to talk about a couple more topics. We're going to talk about, I think, 3 more topics, and then I'm going to let y'all go with something. So Gunna just had his first performance at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Let me pull it up for y'all. Sold out show. His first concert since he got released from jail from the YSL case that had started last year. And he got released a couple of months ago by taking an Alford plea, which is basically he's maintaining his innocence. But he's basically telling, that's what I'm saying. So people were calling him a snitch, Lil Durk, Lil Baby. All these people unfollowing him from Instagram. And he drops a surprise album, A Gift and a Curse, which has no features on it, doesn't have no Weezy, doesn't have nobody on the album. And it sells over 80 plus K, which is good for someone that has been labeled a snitch. And it was a surprise album, and he didn't have no promotion on it. So he goes to the Barclays on September 9th, and he has a whole concert, and he played songs like Fuck You Mean, Top Off, High, and more songs. He played Drip or Drown. He played Ski. That's a Young Thug song. He played another Young Thug song, Hot, with him being a feature on there, and he put in his concert Free Jeffrey. put in his concert Free Jeffrey. Even if him putting that, and it's kind of interesting. Do y'all believe that Young Thug is still gonna be cool with Gunna? I don't even think that he's gonna be cool. Gunna's still trying. Yes, they made music together, so he's letting his music speak to the crowd. He's not getting into the allegations of him snitching and fans hating on him. He's just letting the music speak to himself, which I feel like is a smart decision by Gunna. Letting the music just speak for itself, because the music is hard. It's hard to the point to where when A Gift and a Curse dropped, they didn't treat Gunna like they did 6ix9ine. They didn't treat Gunna like they did 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine was getting called a snitch, and he was a part of the Bloods, and he snitched on everybody, told on everybody, and now ever since that didn't happen, after every single music video that he drops, his fan base, he lost like at least half of it because they call him a snitch. This album was so hard, and I'm here to tell y'all, it was one of the best rap albums of the year. I personally feel like it was a top 3 rap album of the year. It was Utopia's, as of right now, that's number 1. Then you have A Gift and a Curse, and then you have Rallo's album that dropped in early June, late June, should I say. But it was so hard to the point to where people are in the comments saying Gunna ain't snitch on me. Literally, people are saying that. He literally told on YSL. He literally told on Young Thug. He told on his friend Young Thug that he knows about YSL being a gang, and he has knowledge on the crimes that have been going on within YSL. But even with all of that, he drops a masterpiece of an album. A masterpiece of an album. Gets a whole lot of good attention. You have F You Mean, that is still on billboards. It was in the top 10. I think it's still in the top 10. It peaked at number 3. It was almost the first rap song in over a year that has been put at a number 1. We're going to talk about what rap song was number 1 later down in this podcast episode. But it had peaked at number 3, and the whole album was good. Mind you, he didn't get no promotions. He didn't have no Wheezy beats. Didn't have none of that. No promoted album sells over 80K. So imagine if it was promoted. Imagine if he had even just one feature. A good feature, a cold feature, not just a regular feature. If he had Kodak Black like he had on his last album. If he had Thug. If he had Chris Brown, Young Blue, that like he had on his last albums. If he had Playboy Cardi like he had on the album before that. Drip Season 2. If he had any of those features like he had on Drip Season Forever or Wanna, this album would have easily sold 100K plus. And since this Gift and the Curse album was so hard, I wouldn't be surprised if his next album, it could potentially sell at 150 like DS4 sold. Sold more in America than a Weeknd. I want y'all to keep that in mind. That album first week sold more than the Weeknd in America. In the US. Yes, a rapper, Gunna, he did that. So the fact that he didn't promote that and it sold over 80 plus K, that is crazy. Gunna's back. Back like he never left. He left for a couple of months. People were missing Gunna. People were saying that he snitched, but when they saw that he dropped some good music, they all shut up. They all was quiet on Gunna. Thug, obviously, he basically birthed that type of flow, and he's basically the father of that type of flow, and he brought up Lil Baby and Gunna. I'm here to tell y'all, Gunna's hard. Gunna's flow is hard. Gunna has a unique flow which will keep him in the game. His flow is just so different on beats compared to any other rapper that will keep him relevant just alone. His talent is better than Lil Baby. There was a point in time in which Gunna was better than Lil Baby. Then it kind of had flipped after My Turn had dropped by Lil Baby, in which people were saying that Lil Baby was better than Gunna. Then Lil Baby dropped It's Only Me, and now Gunna had dropped Wanna. Gunna had dropped all of these albums before It's Only Me, and then now drops this masterpiece, A Gift and a Curse, and now they're saying Lil Baby has fell off, and Gunna is just way better. It should have never switched on his side to Lil Baby or any of that. Gunna will be in the game. Gunna will for sure stay in the game because of his flow. He has, in my opinion, the best flow that a rapper has right now. His flow is just so, it's too good. It's just too good. He at least has top 5 best flows, just rap flows alone right now. But I feel like for this newer rap game, he's for sure at the top. And I'm not saying newer because he's a little bit older now, but he for sure has one of the best flows. And like I said, imagine if he would have promoted his album. And you still had people at the Barclays Center that are rocking with his album. It's sold out. Literally sold out in Brooklyn, New York. That is crazy. For someone that has been labeled a snitch, if he's labeled a snitch, people would not even rock with his music just a little bit because now there's a snitch. There were some that were kind of like that just for the first month of it when they had found out that, okay, this had ended up happening, don't play no Gunna or whatever. Then he drops A Gift and a Curse and he basically shut up all of his haters. You rarely have people now that are saying, oh, Gunna's a snitch. I'm not finna listen to Gunna because he told on Young Thug. I'm pretty sure you still have people out there. But now, since he dropped this album, and it's one of the best rap albums of the year, one of the best rap albums of the year, he shut up a lot of people that wasn't on his side. Will he still be cool with Young Thug? That's a question that will have to be answered once he gets out, but I don't think Young Thug is going to get out, and I personally believe that he won't have that relationship with the Young Thug again. It was good to have, but I don't think that he's going to have it based off the Alfred plea and what ended up happening. We want them to come together. We want them to drop Three-Headed Snake. We want them to drop Mop. We want them to drop Ski. We want them to drop just all of these other songs, Diamonds, all of these songs that they have together. Their collaboration was just very good. So who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? But I feel as though now I feel like with this whole situation, it's kind of basically like showing who you is going to ride for you when the wheels do fall off and when things get popping. And I feel like with Young Thug, since he's the head of YSL, and he put Gunna on the map, and for him to basically tell, I feel as though that he probably won't be cool with Gunna, but it's a good sight to see. It's good that Gunna is still trying. He's saying Free Jeffrey at his concert. He's playing Young Thug songs, trying to get people to remember, keep on remembering, remember the bond that they had. Remember the things that they did before music, before the fame, before all of that. That's all Gunna wants. So for him selling out the Barclays, music-wise, is good. He's letting his music speak for himself. He's letting his new album speak for himself. Speak for itself. And the success that it's having. And it's still having success. If you mean it's still in the top 10, if not the top 15. Peaked at number 3. Still been very hot on Billboard. Song of the summer. Song of the summer. Obviously with songs, if it gets overplayed, they're going to basically say that it's overplayed and they don't like it. But let's keep it real. If You Mean was just that song. And it's for sure Song of the Summer. Rap-wise. You got some that will say All My Life because All My Life was on the radio for the whole summer. But If You Mean is better than All My Life. Even though I got a J. Cole poster. Even though I got a J. Cole poster, I'm here to tell you that If You Mean was a better summer song than All My Life. It just was. Catchy, better beat, better lyrics. Bye. Gunna in regards to Lil Durk. Now, J. Cole, obviously, J. Cole is going to spit. That's what J. Cole does. But the song is catchy. It's catchy for everybody. Just like with All My Life, it's catchy for everybody. But the kids is going to like that F You Mean. It's just better. It's a better song. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, if it's peaked at number 3 and All My Life peaked in the top 10 too, and it's still on billboards. But this Gunna F You Mean, still going hot. Still going strong. So when Gunna drops his next album, I will be expecting features. I will be expecting him to promote it more. And I will be expecting it to sell 100K. Plus, it will sell that now. Because now with him dropping a surprise album, he dropped Bread and Butter as a surprise song. Then he came back and said that the album was going to drop in a couple of days, and it just dropped, and now it sells over 80 plus K with no features, no help from the industry, well over 80K. If you have a top 10 song, your album can easily sell over 100K just with a top 10 song. So if you have an album and you're making an album and you're constructing an album and it has a top 10 song once it drops, plus your history and plus your resume in regards to the rap game, you can sell 100K. So I feel as though when Gunna drops his next album, he should have features on there. Obviously, he couldn't have features because of the whole situation that was happening. He didn't want features on there. But this next album that he does drop, whenever he drops the next album, I'm expecting features. I'm expecting him to sell over 100K because now he has a top 10 song. Not saying that he didn't have a top 10 song. He's had top 10 songs. But this song, F You Mean, and he didn't have no help, and it blew to a top 10 song, peaked at number 3. I would most definitely expect Sergio Kitchens to have another album selling well over 100K. And it might sell 150. Like Drip Season Forever. But I feel like with that, he can't do it by himself. He has to have features in order to get to that. But he will for sure sell over 100K. So him selling over 80K is very good due to the fact that he didn't have no help. But now since his next album, now he's going to have help. He's going to have features. Because not saying that with the whole situation, YSL situation, when it happened, he just lost everybody. There's still going to be people that rock with him. So when Gunna gets these people that do rock with him, and I'm pretty sure it's people that are known in the industry, I will be expecting 100K from Sergio Kitchens. So he put Free Jeffrey, like I said, in a concert. Hopefully they get back together. But if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised because he did snitch on Young Thug. But we'll just have to see. Next topic. It's kind of crazy. This is why when I get news for my podcast, I'm going to let y'all know this now. This is how I do my podcast. So, obviously, since I talk about news from all over the world, the music industry, and more, obviously, it goes by what news comes out. Obviously, if I don't have no news, then I can't make a podcast because I go strictly off of news. So, when I do get news, obviously, you got to check your sites, and you got to wait multiple days because you never know. That one thing that you might talk about your podcast, for example, the Kevin Porter Jr. incident, if I would have talked about it on Monday, I would not have known of the things that happened September 15th as I'm recording this video. And it literally came out just an hour ago. So, with me waiting and trying to figure out topics, come to find out that Rod Wave then just dropped an album. He dropped the album last night. Album's only been out for a little bit less than 24 hours. By the time I upload this video to y'all, it will be over 24 hours. He drops his new album, Nostalgia, his 5th album. And he had lead songs, Fight the Feeling, Boys Don't Cry, Checkmate, Come See Me, Call Your Friends. It's an 18-song album with only one feature, 21 Savage on Turks and Caicos. Be sure to check out Rod Wave's new album. My top 5 songs off of first listen. Just his first listen. is I feel like 2018 is the best song on the album. And what I try and do when an album does come out, I try and not count the songs that have been released before the album. I try and just do the top 5 strictly on what has already what's new to us, because now we've heard the songs. Now obviously if the song is that good, yes, put it in the top 5, but I try not to. But like I said, 2018 is the best song on the album, in my opinion. Pass You By, I was listening to that. I feel like that's a good song. Boys Don't Cry, even though it's a lead single, I still feel like that's a top 5 song. HG4, that might be an underrated song in the album, but I feel like that's a top 5 album. And last but not least, the first song on the album, Nostalgia, is a top 5 song. Now, what Rod Wave has been doing, and it gets our attention, he drops snippets of the album, of songs from the album, just like any rapper does. But in the song, he has samples. And this is what these newer rappers are starting to do. They start putting more and more samples of music from other songs, or just, it could be quotes, lyrics from other songs. It could just be just something from a TV show, and they make it a sample and they put it on the song. So it kind of gets our attention. If we hear something from, I don't know, let's just say Timmy Turner, SpongeBob, or if we hear The Rock as a sample, we're going to be like, oh, The Rock, how did he get this sample in the song? And it's going to gravitate, it's going to bring more people to the song. He just had a song with the Morgan Wallen, Chasing You, the Chasing You Like a Shot of Whiskey song. He had that as a sample, and that brought a whole lot of attention to that song and the album that was supposed to drop. Now, he was supposed to drop last month, but he had pushed it back all the way until yesterday. But what it did, by promoting that song, and it has a sample in that song, it brings people to want to listen to that album, because you never know what you're gonna get. They already hear the sample. It's like basically the hook towards the song. They hear the sample. Oh, it's a Morgan Wallen song. Oh, it's a Drake song. Oh, it's a Taylor Swift sample. Like, if you bring that to your song, it's like basically a hook that, well, now we're interested. We want to see how you're gonna flow on it. Now with Rod Wave, people say that he really only makes sad songs, which I don't want to necessarily say he makes sad songs. He does make sad songs, but he more so uses his vocals, and his beats are more slower. So with that, the mood comes as if it's a sad song. But he has some upbeat songs that, yeah, the lyrics are sad, but since the tone is more upbeat and the beat is more upbeat, it doesn't feel as though it's more sad. Like Dark Clouds, it's upbeat. You have the Turks and Caicos songs. It's more upbeat. If your beats are more upbeat and the tone is more upbeat, it's not going to feel as though that it's a sad song. You have, in his last album, Beautiful Minds, you had Youngin with Jack Harlow. That wasn't a sad song. I still feel as though Pray for Love is his best album collectively. I don't think that this is his best work. He does have more samples than those albums, but I still feel as though it's not his best work. It's a good album. One thing with Rod Wave, you're never going to be disappointed with any of his albums. Any album that Rod Wave has dropped ever since he had started Hard on Ice, you're never going to be disappointed. From that album all the way until now. Nostalgia, Beautiful Minds, Pray for Love, all of these albums that he has dropped, you've never been disappointed in any of these albums. That's one thing that I can for sure tell you. If you do try and listen to this album, you won't be disappointed. But the biggest con, and what most people say about Rod Wave, is the simple fact that the songs that he does make, it gives off a sad tone, and people don't want to listen to sad songs, which I was one of those people. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was one of those people that was saying Rod Wave makes sad songs. I'm not in the mood to listen to no sad songs every single day. But you kind of forget how hard Rod Wave actually is, and you kind of realize that yes, that's what he does most of the time, but some of the times he doesn't even do that. But with that in mind, it's like you kind of forget how hard the Rod Wave is. So when you do go back and listen to Rod Wave, you be like, oh, this is hard. I forgot how hard Rod Wave was, because that's how I was. When I went back and listened to Pray for Love, his best album in my opinion, as a whole, collectively, it kind of made me remember like how hard Rod Wave really is. It's kind of a surprise that he didn't really have that many features on this album compared to his last couple of albums with Yo Gotti, Lil Baby, Kodak Black, Jack Harlow, all of these people. Kodak, Lil Durk on Already Won on the last album before that, should I say. He made it just one album, one feature, made everything about his vocals, and he put time in each and every one of these songs. He pushed back the album to make some last minute adjustments. And with that, look at what came. The album's hard. Our first listen, it's hard with me. It's hard for me to get into an album off a first listen. This album is hard. Is it his best work? No, I don't think it's his best work. Are there any top 5 songs? No, I don't think there's any top 5, top 10 songs on here. It's a very good album, though, I will tell you that. Do I think it's better than Beautiful Minds? I can't really say as of right now because the album's only been out for a day. When I upload this video, it'll be out for a day. Give me like a couple of weeks, and I'll for sure make a Twitter post talking about the Rod Wave album. Y'all comment down below. I'm going to do probably a poll, and y'all say, is it better than Beautiful Minds? But are there any What's Wrong songs on there, type caliber songs on there? No. What's Wrong is better than all of those songs. Is it any like Letter from Houston's, Rags to Riches, Pray for Love, Dark Conversation, stuff like that? Nah, but the samples that he used, I would say it makes the listeners catch on, and it gets them hooked to the song because you hear a sample in the song. Anytime you hear a sample, it's basically like a hook for an author who writes a book. It's basically like the hook. Now it makes us question, like, how are you going to flow on a song? And if you flow good, we're going to mess with it. If you don't, then you don't. It's like it can make or break your song. But you're going to get the views no matter what, because of the simple fact they hear a sample. And it's going to make your album sound at first better. But you basically got to capitalize. You got to continue to make the song good. Yeah, you already made the song good with the hook being the sample, but now you got to flow on it. Now you got to hit a flow. Now you got to put your vocals in, talk your talk. And that's exactly what Rod Wave did on his album. That's exactly what he did. But I can see if people don't get too invested in the Rod Wave because his tempos are somewhat slow and it can feel as though it's sad. But like I said, Rod Wave has songs to which they're more upbeat and they're not sad. Youngin, Already Won, songs like that. Turks and Caicos, 21 Savage, that is on this album. More upbeat. Dark Clouds, more upbeat. He could potentially talk about the same things, but it's more upbeat. It's not sad. It's basically how the beat is. If the beat's sad and you're more using your vocals and it's more low tone, obviously the mood is going to be sad. But if the beat is more upbeat and you're rapping about the same things, but now you're talking more upbeat, it makes the tone come out more not sad and more like, okay, happier, should I say. So with this Rod Wave album, obviously it's only been out for a day, so I'm going to keep on giving it a couple of listens. But as of right now, those are my top 5. I still feel as though the 2018, the last song on the album, is the best song on the album. There's a couple of albums that have came out in which I feel like the last song on the album is like the best song on the album. Like, for an example, Young Boy had just dropped his album. Well, he dropped the album a couple of months ago. Um, I'm talking about the Don't Try This at Home. Obviously, he dropped the Richest Op after that. But the Don't Try This at Home, like Madden, is the best song on the album. With Lil Baby's It's Only Me, even though the album was mid, Russian Roulette, I feel like, is the best song on the album. So, I don't know. I just feel like with some artists, it's like sometimes the last song on the album be the best song on the album. It's a great way to close your album off. But Rod Wave, one thing I will tell you with him, each and every time he drops an album, he will never disappoint. It can be a sad album, it can be all of that. But one thing Rod Wave does have, if you do check out Rod Wave, he has vocals. Even though he said that after Beautiful Minds, that was going to be the last time he made a sad album, he still came back and dropped this sad album, should I say. But it's still good because one thing about Rod Wave is that he has vocals. And he mixed it up with Turks and Caicos and other songs on the album that are more upbeat. They're not just low toned, low mood, so it equals a sad tone, sad result, sad song. He has some songs that are more upbeat. But that Turks and Caicos song with 21 Savage is hard. One thing about 21 Savage, even though I feel like that isn't one of his best features, but he'll never disappoint you on a feature. He has been going on a roll. Ever since the Her Loss collab album, he has been going on a roll with features. So be sure to check out Rod Wave's new song. And the last thing I want to talk about is Doja Cat being her song Paint the Town Red being the first rap song to go #1 since Nicki Minaj's Super Freaky Girl that had dropped over a year ago in August 2022. And in the music video, because I listened to it a couple of times, it has satanic things. She says satanic devil stuff. She has the Grim Reaper, and she has all of these things in the album. I'm not surprised that Doja Cat would be the one that has the first #1 song, rap song on billboards. The song has been blowing up on TikTok, has over 40 million views in over a month, has 46 million views in over a month to be exact. And with that, it's like Doja Cat, all of these things and her personality and how people are on the internet talking about how she's been getting exposed and everything that has been going on with her. Those same people that will hate on Doja Cat will be the same people, the same 46 million people that had viewed the song. The same people that will literally hate on you, say all of this, copy you, try and make a image of you, will be the same people that actually watch everything that you do. And I feel like that's what's going on with Doja Cat. Doja Cat, obviously, her fan base, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that she doesn't have no talent. Yes, she has talent. And yes, people who don't listen to Doja Cat and they see that she has a #1 song, it's like, how can Doja Cat, out of all people, have a #1 song? But you gotta listen and you gotta be transparent. The beat is catchy. That's one thing I will say. I can see how people listen to the song because the beat is catchy. And if people are into those type of songs and lyrics, yeah, they're gonna like Doja Cat. That's one thing I will say. Doja Cat has been popping still. So this is not a surprise. This is not a surprise at all. Is it a satanic? Yes, she says devil a lot. That's just her. That's just her. There's nothing wrong with that. It could be satanic and it could be just her expressing herself. But the same people that were clowning Doja Cat are the same people that I'm pretty sure watch this video and listen to her song. Because that's how people are. You'll have people that'll literally hate on you, say that you can't do it, talk about your character, try and make you this type person, whether you're satanic, evil, good person, a bad person, whatever. But when you do start something, or you do come out with a video or whatever, they will be the same people that watch you, try and copy you, or just anything. They'll literally do that. And with Doja Cat, the same people that have been talking about her, same people that are, making a bad image for her, because she has done a couple of things. Obviously, with the news that came out months ago, she's done things. She showed herself. She done did all of that. But I'm pretty sure the same people that made news about that are the same people that have watched this music video, same people that are on TikTok making dances towards it. And now she has the #1 rap song on billboards, which I'm not surprised. That is congratulations to Doja Cat. Whole point is the same people that will talk about you, critique you, hate on you, make an image on you, will be the same people that'll literally copy you and do the same thing that you're doing and try to just hate and just bash you. They'll do all of that. So don't let people, this is the last thing that I'm going to say. This has nothing to do with the Doja Cat. Like I said, congratulations. Don't let no one who hates on you, don't let that discourage you from doing what you want to do. Same people, like I said, that will talk about you, critique you, hate on you, say something behind your back will be the same people that actually look at your stuff, same people that'll copy what you're doing, take everything, won't give you no credit, but they're watching you. Use all of that as motivation. Use all of that as motivation. Because if you just let hate get to you and them critiquing, how does that make you mentally? Because haters, they're really just they should be your motivators. You're giving them motivation. They're seeing that you're doing something and they're just hating on it. They don't want you to win. Not everyone's going to want you to win. But those same people that are hating on you are the same people that are viewing your stuff right now. I'm pretty sure I have haters out here. I'm pretty sure I have people that see what I'm doing right now. And they're talking behind my back or whatever. But those are the same people that could potentially be your friends. Same people that are watching you right now that could take everything that you're doing. None but competition. Nothing but just them hating and they don't want to see you succeed. Nothing wrong with it. Just know that all of it is competition. You're going to have haters. You're going to have all of that. Me and you could have the same materials, and I want you to have y'all have this mindset. You and another person could have the same materials, but don't let that person be able to utilize those materials better than you. I could have the same materials as you. That don't mean that you can utilize it better than me. That's the same way you got to think. It's nothing but just competition. So your haters are really, they can be competing with you, just hating. Let that be your motivation. Don't let them stop you from whatever you're doing. And I'm saying this straight up. I gotta take off my glasses because of this. Do not let your haters stop you from what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, they're giving you the motivation, the most motivation. Because I'm telling you, the same people that are hating on you are the same people that will literally copy what you're doing or do something behind your back, should I say, and they won't give you no credit whatsoever. So your haters, you're really motivating them. So keep it up. So with that in mind, that is the end of this podcast episode. Yes, I made this podcast episode a little bit long. I've been gone for over 12 days, almost 2 weeks, so I have to provide y'all with the content. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And with that in mind, I love y'all, and y'all have a nice rest of y'all night.